fucking man. Welcome, friends. Time to talk. And today I'm having my first guest here in Latvia, in one of the most beautiful places to me, Mr. Yannick Cousinne. He's from Luxembourg. He's a professional coach and he's a breathwork guide. And today I think we're gonna touch upon many different interesting questions, topics, what coaching is, what breathwork is, what breathwork guide do, and how powerful the breath can be. And this is a new thing which is introduced in my podcast, Time to Talk, that my guests, throughout the podcast, we play a chess game with me. It doesn't matter if somebody wins or loses, it's just a thought provocative process, because I believe that through chess you can learn a lot of things which you can apply actually in your life and throughout your friendships and relationships. So, with that, I think we can start.
Let's
And
go.
man, thank you so much for coming. Let
Thank you
me,
for having me, for real.
like, I just want to express the gratitude towards you for doing this, for accepting the invitation, for coming out. And we have had blast for, I think, last 3 days. We've done many activities, talked so much that basically each and every of our conversations should have been a different series and separate series
Every
in
single one, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so yes, I think since you are the white, and my guests will always be the white, take the advantage, make your first move, and just tell me about you. How did you come to coaching? What drove you to it? And what is the motivation? What is your message, man?
Let's start with that.
A classic, classic,
A classic.
a
And
classic.
by the way, he was making me lose plenty of times. So, um, coaching. Yeah, coaching in general really came into my life a year ago, but it was more of the importance of all the years before. I always, my entire life, had this urge to grow and to find more, like to find out who I am. And this quest really got serious over the past 5 years, 5, 6 years. Um, and I personally always looked for tools and looked for modalities that were helping me and were supporting this vision, I would say, to just find it out. And yeah, different modalities came into my life. Meditation was
Hmm.
one of the main keys
Right.
that really unlocked a lot and
It's
put
it,
me on a heavy journey.
it's a powerful tool. I mean, it's a
Mm.
powerful tool to have. This meditation. Did you use breathwork at that time already, or breathwork came later in your life?
Yeah, so breathwork really came with the meditation work. So
Hmm.
I did a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza's work.
He's
Um,
amazing dude, though.
he's an
He's
amazing
amazing
dude.
dude.
He's a genius for sure, and
Yeah.
he makes it very practical and very
Hmm.
simple for everyone to understand and to apply it.
Hmm.
And so I started the meditation with his work, and then he has a very specific breath work that is called pulling the mind out of the body, and it's basically just Kundalini breath, I
Hmm.
guess you would call it. So that was my first encounter really with breath work and this whole dispenser
What was the
modality.
what was the first, like the major thing in breath? Like, was it the nasal breathing? Is it was it a special technique? Like, what's one of the key, ingredients to start? Like, I suppose you can fine tune it, but
Hmm.
what's the key? Like, what's one of the big things that we do wrong?
Okay, so we haven't finished the first thought yet, right?
Yes,
But
this is classic us, though.
just jumping into the next thing.
Yes.
um.
Oh, that was pre-planned. That was pre-planned. All right, all right, all right, all right.
Yeah, so for me, this particular breath was really just about arousing yourself to the degree that you have an emotional release.
Mm-hmm.
That was really what I felt. So it was a breath that really got me engaged, and
Mm-hmm.
that that was helping me to release everything that I needed to release in order to dive
Mm-hmm.
into that state of meditation.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't really soft start with the breath. That
Mm-hmm.
was a really intense start. And what intrigued me in breathwork was just this arousal that you can cause that is actually benefiting you, that you can really regulate how you feel inside,
Mm-hmm.
not only to the better, but just to the degree that you can release certain things that are no longer serving.
Mm-hmm.
And that got me also then in Wim Hof.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Wim Hof really laid the foundation for the thing that I'm doing now with breathwork.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but coming back to this coaching thing,
Yes.
how I got to that, because I was never a fan of coaching itself. Like coach, I just life
All right.
coach, whatever.
Yeah,
I
please.
was not a fan,
Yeah.
and because I always believe that you have the power. Like I was doing these things with Dispensa, and I had such an internal transformation. It was palpable.
You went to Mexico, right?
That was a few months back.
That was a few
Yes,
months back. All right.
actually, half year back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That is another thing, but
Yeah.
really because I've never visited any retreats or like events. Not really. I did one progressive
Mm-hmm.
4 years back or so, but having this internal transformation going on, I just didn't understand why you would need a coach that would tell you, I don't know, do your meditations or like
Yes.
do this or that.
So
But
what coach does help you with?
right, that is the thing. Like I discovered at one point that was a year ago
Mm-hmm.
that coaching is a like you have the ability to hold space for another person. You
Mm-hmm.
have the ability to be there with that person and to give that person a room that they feel safe, that they can transform.
Mm-hmm.
And that's only a thing that I understood a year back.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that they were doing something or like
Yes.
advising something, but
Yes.
it's just not about that. And
Contrary to what actually some coaches nowadays do. So I think this is what sets you apart, that that you understand how valuable this room is for
yeah,
that other person, right?
exactly right. Because that's a different thing. Like I think we haven't talked about all in other discussions
Yes.
is that I was always the lone wolf, just didn't want to accept any help.
Mm-hmm.
I always had to do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do it myself. I
Mm-hmm.
had options to get help, but
Yeah.
it just wasn't about that. So I think that shifted at one point where I saw the value of having someone next to
Mm-hmm.
you and being with you and seeing you. And 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 that was the moment where I saw, okay, yeah, there is this coaching thing and you can implement all of that into this breath.
That brings me back to one of my most favorite quotes, uh, which I actually also gave as a toast in my grandma's funeral. Um, the quote is from the book which I showed you, "The Horse, the Fox, the Mole, and the Boy." It's a children's book essentially, um, but the storyline is very deep. I suggest everyone to read that book at least once in a lifetime. It's a short book, doesn't take a lot of time, but the message is there. And the boy is walking, and he asks a question. Not he asks a question, but yeah, he asks a question to the fox. He was like, "What's the bravest thing you have done?" And said, and the fox said, "Help." And I think this is really
Mm.
probably for you. It's coming to this brave point, understanding that um, yes, it is you who can change everything and anything, but but you do need others. And I think that that's a really valuable thing to understand.
Mhm.
And once you kind of let your ego down, not down, but like you soothe it, so it's like nourished, and you are like, hey, it's fine, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, and then then I probably would go to you and be like, hey, help.
Mm.
And I suppose that's where you kind of come in, right?
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. It is. It is. Yeah. It is like, when I see personally, like the moment where you have done the work yourself. Oh, not done it all, but like you have made an effort to
Mm-hmm.
change yourself and to discover more about yourself,
Yes.
to give it back, to allow other
Mm-hmm.
people to experience the same. Yeah.
Yes.
It's this helping in this case, just like being of service,
Exactly. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Being of service. And yeah, that's I believe that is the value that I see now in coaching or guiding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's that's really nice.
yeah.
And I'm thinking now, because we have spoken so much. Uh, Man, you're moving too fast. Uh, this is, I. You just make me think a lot now. Um, it's great though. It's great. It's a challenge. Um, I will trade those quickly, so I'll
That's what
let you
happens.
think. Let you think about it. But where does this want comes from of wanting to be of service to others? Because essentially your professional development now as a coach and as a breathwork guide, um, it probably comes from somewhere, right? So is it that you saw that those things can help you and then you just want to help others with those things?
Yeah.
Or what is that? I think what
Hmm.
I want to ask is what do you see is really missing in the world in general, in
Right.
society? Because we are living in crazy times, as we are truly living in crazy times. Last
Mm-hmm.
4 years, man.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Pretty much. Yeah.
yeah.
It like if you look at the world and you look at these times that we're in, you see a lot of divide.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of you don't you don't find enough kindness. You were talking a lot of kindness, and
Yes.
like kindness really develops over time when you interact with other people and you get trust. And I think that the world, like many people, don't feel that the world is a safe space, and therefore we have this society that we have, that everyone is just trying to survive and trying to figure it out, and really forgets about these core values that only happen when you feel safe and when
Mm-hmm.
you can trust.
Mm-hmm.
But many people don't have that because of,
Vulnerability, right?
yeah, I
Being
guess
vulnerable.
vulnerability is the very thing that leads you to these things, like leads you to trust
Mm-hmm.
and safety. Because that's what I see in this work is, if you if you really can hold space for a person, and what I mean by holding space is being with a person without judging,
Mm-hmm.
being there and holding a vision that is greater than the vision they perceive of themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and then allowing for everything to happen, allowing for any transformation to happen, allowing for vulnerability to come in,
Mm-hmm.
right, to generate this trust. And I just think, if you have this too, like if people that went through a certain process themselves, and if they interact with other people and build community, um, there are just big things that can happen in the world. And I really see this as a big thing. Everyone who is contributing in the work that involves transformation and that involves um, of giving a sense of safety and
Mm-hmm.
trust is a big, like it's a big effect that you cause in the world.
Man, preaching to choir here. I fully agree. I fully agree. Give me your just couple main or most important guidelines that a community needs to follow to prosper this environment. So, what would be the guiding principles of this community? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, yeah. But I think it all again comes ironically back to the individual.
Mm-hmm.
There's everyone is doing the work on themselves to
Yeah.
liberate themselves. Everyone is doing the work on themselves so they feel a sense of trust in life and that they feel a trust in themselves and then come together, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
that when everyone is taking care of their own well-being, they are more prone to be in service to others
Mm-hmm.
and contribute to the well-being of others.
Of course.
So I guess like the main pillar would be really doing the work on himself,
Yeah.
whatever that is, right?
Yeah. It's the same as the army is as strong as its weakest link.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So
Yeah.
if you are essentially the weak link, people surrounding you, you will drag them down.
Yeah.
So it is, I think, also this fundamental understanding that, of course, you have to be kind and you have to be able to be vulnerable in many things, and we all have our difficulties um, and problems from time to time. But it's also understanding that you have to be willing to take care of yourself, right? Essentially, it's like you have to improve to be of service of others. It's
Yeah.
what you sow, what you reap, and all these kind of sayings. It's that once you put in the work, that's the outcome you get.
Yeah. And like, look how many people don't have really the ability or the capability to be of service because they are so in survival, because they have so many
Hmm.
stress factors that are
Yes,
holding them back,
that's
you
true.
know?
But I think it just instantly challenges my mind that um, these stress factors, I think a lot of people put unnecessary stress on themselves.
Mm.
Man, with the career path, with the lifestyle choices, and I'm not talking about the big things, but even the little ones, getting this and that, and I think they are unwillingly creating all of this, or willingly, uh,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's sustainable.
No, because like the greatest misery that people live is the misery they didn't even experience yet, right? It's like
Yes.
this overthinking, this just anxiety that's creeping because you have some kind of picture of how things can be and you're
Yes.
scared and you have fear, and
Yes.
that's the kind of survival that is like threatening
Yes.
the society, right?
And I think now we
Yeah,
come back
true.
really to the perfection, right? What we
Oh,
spoke
good.
about before. I
Hmm.
think a relatively big, interesting topic we touched upon, the
Very.
perfection.
Yeah.
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 So
Perfection.
perfection. Yes. Should we delve into it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, let's do that.
So long story short, we are setting up a podcast, and we have bunch of cameras, equipment. Yannick has brought everything. Um, and we find out that we don't have the right cards, so we can't record it with the cameras the way we wanted to, from different angles and all that. And then suddenly we can see that we get a little bit like, oh, like, nah, it's not gonna happen today. But then I said, just take a breather, take a breath, it's fine, because also this nothing, I think, in life has to be perfect.
Hmm.
And I think we cause so much anxiety um, on this perfection. When you say we have this mental image in the future, it's not existent, not at all. Like that, it's not there.
It's hypothetic.
Yes, what we have right now, right here, that's all we have.
Hmm.
And actually, that is also pretty much nothing. Because that space between the past and the future, it's so tiny. And if we just scale it up a little bit, like next 10 minutes when we did our conversation of whether to do podcast, how to do it, all that, it's just you have to learn to accept the present moment. It's
Hmm.
not here. So if we would wait and create additional layer on anxiety or stress, that something is not the way we feel like, want like, um, we'd probably arrive in this conversation, I don't know, a couple months later, when we see each other again. But no, the time is now.
The time is now,
Time is
and you got to
always now.
use whatever you have to do it.
Yes. You adapt, you change. I personally think that is one of the main things that we lack in general, this possibility to adapt to the changes.
Yeah.
How do you see where you come in for adapting to these changes? Are you trying as a coach to make people, how to say, now I have to rephrase it. Are you creating this space for them to be able to adapt these changes and to change something? Or are you creating this space for them to realize on their own?
Yeah, right. That is the thing. I do nothing else but providing the space and providing the tools
Yes.
to give that person permission, and that person gives themselves permission by utilizing these tools to come into an inner environment that allows them to, again, feel safe and feel helped, so that adaptability can actually happen, right? How
Yes.
often now we have, like we said, like we
Yeah.
wanted to have this whole setup, and like I was like, I brought my freaking camera here. I had like big luggage, like but no, it
Yes.
just doesn't freaking matter because it's just not how it turned out to be.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
now, if a person has, because it can get really serious actually with these thoughts.
Yes.
Imagine you have a thought that you really have to have it like that. Like, you imagine this event, you imagine the situation, and you have this expectation that it turns out to be that way. And then when it turns out that it's not that way, it messes with your entire body. Your body's like, what? I'm not getting that now? Right? It's a
Yeah.
sense of entitlement somehow that we build up.
Yes.
Because we believe that, okay, I fabricated in my mind and it should look like that, and when it doesn't, no, I deserve more. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is, if you have anxiety, and anxiety is this, right? It's like you want to have a certain you want to have an event turned out a certain way because it doesn't. Maybe that person comes in and then you're scared, and like you're fighting against the unknown. You're fighting against the unknown. You have a picture in the future that should be a certain way,
Yes.
that should be the known, because when it's known, you're controlling it and you feel good.
Yes.
But if you don't allow the unknown to happen, you are not able to adapt, because you only adapt to something unknown, to something that you don't know. Now imagine you have a life, like, I don't know, you have a career change, or you just want to do that certain business, or you want to be with that person, but you are scared of the unfamiliar. You don't know how it's going to be.
Yes.
And how are you going to adapt there, right? Because you actually want it, but you're scared of it. And I believe, as, like, let's use breath work.
Yes.
You use breath work as a modality to change your internal state of being, so that you are able to feel safe in this unfamiliar, unknown environment. And I guess that's where it comes in. If you see a change happening in your life and you want to have that new thing, you want to be a new embodiment, and you have anxiety, or you're
Yes.
scared of that and you're not willing to adapt, then using this modality as a tool to regulate yourself and feeling more safe in the experience of having that unknown
Yeah.
experience. I guess that's where I come in, or just the modality itself comes in.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
hold the space for the unknown to happen,
Yes.
and being willing to go there no matter what happens.
There's beauty in it. There's truly
Well,
beauty in it,
yeah,
man. It's like not knowing, you know. Ah,
not knowing.
it's like, yeah,
Yeah, not knowing.
not knowing, yeah.
Hmm.
It's like I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow. Isn't that scary? Isn't it beautiful?
Exactly.
There's sometimes beauty in not knowing how new career can change, where it can lead you, where new relationship, new people, uh, where how will your life change? You know, um, yeah, I fully get what you're saying.
Yeah, and then, but also then let's put perspective in it. Imagine like you saying that, and you stating that with
Hmm.
such joy, and you
Yeah,
really mean it, and I know you mean it.
yeah, thank you.
And I know you have plenty stories to tell, and
Oh,
because of that willingness, and that's just for me so beautiful to witness here, having the time with you. Um, that says a lot about yourself and the work that you have done on yourself,
thank you.
because you're willing to go in there. But then imagine you have a person having such strong anxiety, having such a strong sense of fear that they are not willing to enter that state, and they don't have the stories to tell.
I agree.
They only have the story to tell of them being scared, right?
Yes.
And it's difficult to change that if you're in there.
It's hard. It's
Very
not
hard.
easy. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah,
I mean, let's be frank and honest. Yeah,
right.
it's hard.
And it's just that constant willingness to go there.
Yeah,
I guess it's for many people very, very difficult,
yeah,
but it doesn't have to be. It can be in the beginning, but
yeah.
pushing through can happen more or less easily, in a
Hmm.
sense that you don't have to have such an intense experience.
So that's when you can do it in increments, right? It's like you. I know that in physical activity, I and other people, i- or most people use it, is this adaptation of stress. So of course it would be crazy now to do ultra. I mean, it would not be crazy. It would be
For me, it
difficult.
would.
Yeah,
For
you
you, I
know,
don't know.
no, not, it's not crazy. You just you try and do it. You either fail or succeed. You know, there's really two options. You either do it or you don't.
Yep.
But at least you're doing it. But I think with this adaptation of stress, so if you really want to go, you know, by the book in the sports, and if you prepping to compete or develop in some physical aspects, and I think it's transferable to kind of this personal development, to the
Hmm.
emotional state and stress and anxiety, that you can do it in increments, you know, this adaptation of stress. So you start by something small, you know. It's like if you feel like probably your whole life is falling apart, maybe you start by, you know, just cleaning a drawer,
Which is big.
which is big
Which
already,
is
yeah.
big. And that's the thing. Like many, and that's all. Also comes back to perfection, right?
Yes,
It's that you
exactly.
don't have, like, how can you have it figured out right away? How
Yeah.
can you have it figured out anyway?
You can't. I
You
mean,
can't
let's be
really.
honest,
Just
we are
right.
all
It's not.
lost. It's like,
Yeah. Look where we are. Like
yeah.
this tiny human sitting here on a big
Yes.
property with our car, but it's just like
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
We tiny, and we it's a journey of figuring it out, right? And that's that would be the goal, right? That you can honor yourself every single time when you
Hmm.
overcome yourself.
Yes.
Every single time when you do like a small little step to just
Yes.
step out of there,
Yes.
that's a big success.
Yes.
That's a big
That's a
success,
big success. It's a big steps.
and it's incremental, right? Like at one
Hmm.
point you will do the Iron Man,
Ultra, Ironman, whatever.
whatever it is, and
Whatever I will come up in my mind, I'm gonna be like,
yep,
okay, I'm gonna do it.
you're gonna do it.
Yes, you got it.
And that's what I learned so brilliantly yesterday. He was pushing me through a hard workout, and yeah, for me hard,
Yes, no,
for me hard.
it was hard. He put up a good fight.
I
I was
really
very
appreciate
happy.
it because it was a fight, and there was this beautiful moment where I realized, wow, it's really just about the engagement with this point of that's a little bit too much for me.
Hmm. Yes.
Constantly, and then
Yeah.
at one point you will have this big thing that you dreamed yourself.
Yeah.
You know, this whatever it is
Yeah.
of a relief that you want to have, a
Yeah.
success that you want to have.
Yes. My in my family, one person used to say, I went together with him to the gym when I was like 16, 17, and we had to do like a shoulder exercise, something. And he was like, now you take this light weight. It was a couple kilos, like 2, 3, 4, something like that. And he's like, you do this movement until you see your mom. He was like, until you see in front of you your mom, you just go. That's first, and yeah, I was 16, my ego through the roof, hormones through the roof. I was like, I'm really gonna show this guy and I'm just gonna push. So I really, really, really pushed myself. And I think that was like one of the first times now that I look back at it that I felt this feeling that you tried to describe, that you have this, picture, dream, something in front when you are pushing. But I never focused on the, on the end goal. Not never, but in recent years, I never focus on the goal. I think this is the thing that we sometimes attach the happiness and the hormonal system to the end goal, and we are like, so this is the goal, and when I reach it, I'm gonna be happy. It's like, no, 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 no. Take a step back. It's the journey, man. And I think that's what you have to fall in love with this constant process, because even if I think that I have arrived in this place of, okay, I know everything, I'm doing everything right, it's like, no, 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 no. Always try to look for something more, where you can grow. And it can be emotionally, it can be in relationship, it can be in sports, it can be many different things. But I think my idea in life is to constantly try to keep pushing all of those, just in different times, And it can change, it can vary, but I think that's the most important. And there's a good chess principle, which I still have not taught you in our first days. And a good chess game principle is, because it's now your move. And if you think that you have figured out a good move, look for a better one.
Oh, oh, that's great. That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
And that's really what stood out yesterday for me.
Yes.
Like, that is such a big epiphany. You're so engaged in the process that you don't care
No.
really about what you want to have.
No.
You don't care about
No.
it. And also, it's interesting since we have, like, no one has it figured out,
Yes.
right?
No.
And no one. And you are the one who pushed the an
Envelope.
envelope, right?
Yes.
And this principle of just engaging really gives you the opportunity to actually get a taste of what's possible.
Yes.
Yesterday,
A little bit, but yes.
right.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was doing squats and my black she was just like, no, nope. And I was just okay, you go down, pause, you go up, you go down, you pause, you go up. And it's like just seeing what the legs are capable of. And the same goes with life or with chess or like whatever. You just put yourself in a position to explore only when you engage really, you just fall in love with the
Yes.
process. You fall in love with the act of doing it.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden you get these moments of, wow,
Yes.
I'm capable of that.
Yeah.
It's big.
And I think it's also a paradox, maybe a little bit from this metaphysical and universe and all of the matrix around us, that we spoke, that my memory, which was that please repeat it. Please repeat what you said. But I know I had a great thought, man.
Well, it's there. It's somewhere. Falling in love with the process,
Falling in love with the process, yes, and
engaging.
engaging and figuring it out.
Right.
I think you never really figure out,
No.
right? You just have um, different perspectives, and it all differs for every one of us.
Yeah.
It's the stuff that I do, um, the stuff that you do. I mean, there are many things that you do that for me are, which I don't fully, understand, or which I still need to incorporate in my daily life. But it's always just looking out for those things. I think that's what matters.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Anyway,
look, that brings us also back to this question that you have about a community
yes,
and living together with many people. It's that.
it's that. Yeah,
Look, you bring something, I'm inspired by it, and I want
yeah,
to implement it.
yeah.
I bring something maybe, and you're like, okay, I wanna investigate that.
Nice.
And that's like everyone has their very own fingerprint. Everyone has their thing that they are doing, and that they are figuring out, trying to figure out
Absolutely, yeah.
their passion.
Absolutely, yeah.
And when you come together as a community, you have the ability to learn from each other.
Yes, I think this
You're
is
willing.
where, sorry, but this is really the place where you try not to judge others. We often judge people for what they do, but it's like, why would you judge someone? I think you judge when you are not really happy with where you are. Like, I find that the more I focus on me and the stuff that I love, the less I judge people. Because when you get to that blissful feeling of when you don't care what other people think, when you just do things you love, actually love, that your eyes burn, soul burns for, that's what matters, because that is life. Everything else, that, that's not meant to be. uh, I get there are mundane things and we need to appreciate those, but I think we all have the capacity to push more, look for more, into
Yes.
this process, into this journey, because truly nobody has figured it out.
Yeah. No, yeah.
No.
And it's, don't you find it interesting that I don't know, maybe in your past, like in your early ages, we
I'm
tend
not
to,
that old, man.
well,
I'm really not that
my
old.
friend, I have to be specific.
No, don't be saying that. I'm not that ages. Thank you, man.
Anyways, we all tend to self-sabotage. We all tend to not experience all of that
Constantly, I think.
constantly, and then there's the question, why? 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 It's. I heard this quote. We're not scared to be inadequate. We're really scared of the fact that we are powerful beyond measure, and it's this fear, or like the fear that maybe causes the self-sabotaging or the procrastination or the I'm just gonna chill on the couch,
Yeah.
because we are just freaking powerful, and we,
This failure of success, the power beyond measure, that is.
yeah, the failure of being that embodiment,
Mm-hmm.
of actually being of service, of
I
actually
agree.
being in your full, yeah, I want to do that, I want to live,
Yeah.
I want to, and that's what I see in you.
Oh, thank you.
Really, it's this waking up, I'm going to do that. Now I just want to lift weights in the garden, I'm going to do that. Now I want to take a swim, I do that. Now I run, I do that.
Mm-hmm.
And this constant engagement in this highest excitement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's living.
Yeah.
That's living.
That
Yeah.
for me. That's mantra. Just moving and action. Uh, I love to move. I really love to move. It's
That's really obvious.
just because that's when you feel alive.
Mm.
And I don't know whether it comes from my um, deprivation of other senses, and that maybe I just feel and see more. But I've always been this person who I'm a hugger. I like hugs. Um, I'm this person who feels with physical touch. So that's why I like to move, because then I can feel, like now we're sitting outside, the fresh breath of the wind. that you can feel it in the back of the head, you know, that's also movement. It's different. You can sit here, do the breath work exercises we did before the podcast, which was amazing. Tune in and just feel the surrounding and all that. So that's why movement for me, that's one of the key. That's one of the key things. That's really how I operate. If I don't move regularly, I feel sick, I feel sad, I feel demotivated, and nothing external can really like impact that. Like I've tried years ago with consumerism type of things, just buying stuff, ordering stuff more and more. When instead of like moving, I would just be after work just sitting home, like thinking about next thing to buy, and then I'm like, no, no, no. But then once I start moving, then it's like, here's the feeling. But it took a long time to completely, change the patterns.
Mm.
And the more I've changed it, the less I want to go back to the old patterns. I don't want to be that sedentary lifestyle. Uh,
Mm.
I
How long
can't.
did it took you? Like if you could put a general number.
I think something around 5 years, really like 5 years. It was a 5 year process, yeah. Yeah, where I saw that where I really looked at myself, analyzed myself, and I was like, yeah, this is what you like. This is when you feel good, and this is when you not feel good. It's like, why
Mm.
would you not want to not feel good?
Mm.
You do want to feel good. I think every person, we are pleasure chasing monkeys. Let's be honest. All
Oh
of
yeah.
us, all the humans are pleasure chasing. Whatever gives us satisfaction and good, that's what we want. And we rarely want that bad, that stress. I mean, no person in right mind would want those things.
You don't want it, but the body craves it at one point, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the thing.
But I
Yeah.
think once you bring it in a controlled measure, in what for one form or another, um, I think that's where you can balance out, and then you can really actually even more push the boundaries and or have the feeling of this pleasure and feeling good. But understanding that you also need this bad, as we spoke, that no tree can reach to heaven until its roots reaches to hell, and it's the same with a person. The more happy you're gonna feel, you also need to taste the other part. And the person who says it that he's just on top of the world all the time,
Mm-mm.
not true.
No,
It's not
it's
true.
not how it works.
Or he's on drugs, or he's just alien. I mean, I don't know at this point, but that's just life. It's like
Mm-mm.
as
No
humans,
way.
we don't operate that way. I think we do have this capacity, and we have spoken about it, reaching, beyond what we see, what we understand, this metaphysical
Yep.
universe, something
Mm-hmm.
more, energy. But we also do have these operating systems, right? And then it just comes of, okay, can you actually rewire your operating systems? Can you think or feel beyond what is normal, what is in front of your eyes? Can you feel more of this energy? Um, so yeah, I guess that's tuning in, right?
That's what I would call tuning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. And it's that. Imagine what happens if we get beyond these senses. That's what. That's where for me meditation comes in.
Mhm.
Like you get beyond these senses, beyond this animal that just craves all these things, and yeah, many things that are not really pleasant actually.
Mhm.
But the body's like, I want to have that. I
Yeah.
want to feel that now. Give me
Yeah.
that. I have cravings.
Yeah.
And you get beyond all of that. That in itself is such a big relief
Mhm.
because you see you don't need it.
Mhm.
And you see that you can just feel freaking good for a long time
Mhm.
without anything outside.
Mhm.
And this state can happen, yeah, in meditation, in
Mhm.
movement for you,
Mhm.
in breathwork, or whatever you do, just getting beyond that state where you have these cravings and you
Mhm.
just feel bliss.
Yes,
It's bliss.
it is.
It's pure ecstasy.
The moment of nirvana. A
Ah, the
little bit, a
moment.
little bit,
Good. Uh-huh.
a little bit.
Yeah.
That is what we all want,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah. It's that feeling of being complete, whole, just like Nothing is missing. I'm good. I'm good as it is right now. I just have to make an effort to get
Yeah,
to that place.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's the that's the cure. I think that's the cure we need. Is this understanding on how to get to that place for each one of us, without anyone else putting on us limiting beliefs, changing our systems, how we operate. I think we are programmed so much as kids by family, by friends, other people, you should be this, you should be that, you should walk this way, you should dress this way, you should say these things. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
I'm saying those things because I'm trying to explore. Don't tell me I can't. Teach me, show me with kindness, with soft voice. There's a good saying in among lawyers that don't raise your voice, improve your argument. So I think those things, and yeah, really not limiting anyone to our standards. And this is really what I try um, to incorporate probably among my friends or people I communicate with or in my relationship, is that hey, I'm here explaining myself, and I often try to say I'm not right, I'm not wrong in what I say or how I am. The things I do them for myself, and this is how I operate. I don't want you to be limited by my opinion, but this is how I feel. Now I want you to tell me, instead of why it's right or wrong, because it doesn't have to be right or wrong, man. Everyone has their story, their shoes they have walked. I can never imagine how in my relationship, my partner, where it actually comes from. I can try to understand, but I can't imagine, because I have not walked exactly the same miles, exactly the same turns, exactly the same change. And in my opinion, no one really can tell you, yes, I know. It's like you understand a certain part of it, but you don't know.
Yeah.
And not trying to be better, comparing. I think we do a lot of comparing with other people. Um, but yeah, just really doing all those things for you, by you, being unapologetic
Being unapologetic to
to
yourself.
yourself. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Yes,
That's it.
that's where my drive really comes from.
And then you can see them. I can see them, and I find it really inspiring
Thank you.
because
This,
no
the
one have.
same I see in you.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that. That no one can tell you you should do that. No one can tell you, like, you do all the things that you do because you want to do them,
Yeah.
and it's basically you meeting your own needs,
Mhm.
meeting your own wants,
Yeah.
meeting your own desires. You don't need everyone. You don't need your girlfriend. You don't need the
Mm.
friends. Yet
Yes.
you are so
Yes.
willing to. You're so caring that you share yourself,
Mhm. Indeed.
right? Without expecting to be understood,
Yes.
which is very powerful.
Yes.
It's
It
like
is.
you communicate.
Yes.
You open up. You're vulnerable,
Yes.
and you give another person the opportunity to have like a small insight.
What is
Yeah, now I
something
can
that
understand.
you don't value? No, that you value but others don't. What you think is the one thing that you value and others don't. I can tell you mine, really. I found out this a couple of years ago, I think, too, is being misunderstood.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
That I really don't care
You don't care.
if I'm understood or no. No,
Doesn't matter.
no, it doesn't matter, because everyone has their perspective,
Yeah.
always. You simply, in my mind, it's almost, impossible to be Exactly.
100%. It's
Yeah.
impossible.
Yeah.
It's not interesting. Yeah.
Until it's
Yeah.
possible.
Until it's possible. Yeah. Who knows? Who
It's
knows,
true.
right?
Yeah.
You never know. Um, wow. Keeps me thinking. What is something I value that
That
others
others
don't?
don't.
Um, communication, I would say. Really proper, honest, vulnerable communication.
Mm-hmm.
It's like oftentimes people tend to just bypass the honest communications, the honest confrontations.
Absolutely.
But I really, really value that. If a person is telling me, I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to behave in that way when I'm with you.
Yes.
I really like whatever it is. I really appreciate when a person is being honest and transparent and is
Mm.
willing to say that.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
One advice that you would give.
Ooh, an advice.
Just one thing that you think is what you want to give to others right now, at this moment, what you want to tell, what you want everyone to think of a little bit.
Feel. Less thinking, more feeling.
Beautiful.
If your body is saying yes, you can trust it and experiment and trust that yes and
Yes.
follow the feeling. And when your body says no, set the boundary and say no, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, and I'm only thinking that if I move through life and I follow the feeling, that I'm better off than if I follow my thinking. Yeah.
Heart over mind.
Heart, heart and mind,
Heart and
but
mind.
allowing the heart to inform the brain
Amazing.
instead of the brain informing the whole entire body.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Thank you for today. Thank you so much once again for coming. It has been a blast, and the good news are that the blast is continuing.
Yes, you're
So
halfway through.
we're halfway through. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for listening. And we see you next time. And I hope you enjoyed it. Cheers, friends. Oh, man. Thank
My
you.
man.
This has been amazing.